you. I'm going to take mindset maven. That's like my favorite new phrase. I'm taking that. I'm so happy to be back. And happy birthday. Belated birthday.
A belated birthday to who?
To you, right? Do you have a belated birthday?
No, my birthday's in October. No, my birthday's in October.
Okay, hi.
I'll take it though. It's funny. I just talked to my.
It's
okay. I actually was.
Hey! Happy half birthday, baby.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
You know, that must have been another
oh my gosh!
Melissa I adore. That I saw. I don't know. It was like the 3-word name Melissa, and I don't know. I'm just now. Anyway, I'm gonna go back to say thanks for calling me a mindset maven, and yeah. Well, cheers to you for just being here and doing this. How about that?
Well, thank you. Yeah, same to you. So I'm glad that the video is a little bit less choppy than it was last time.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, last time I saw it, it was fine, and then the playback was like whatever. But I did everything you told me. I asked Melissa like, how do I do this? And hopefully my tech is better.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I think this week actually there must be something cosmically like with like sun radiation or whatever, but seriously, I have had more trouble with tech. My husband has had more trouble. My friends have had more trouble, like connecting and all that stuff. So if you guys are watching us live, just know that that's probably what's happening. Is it's not our fault.
Well, and I guess it's been such a great, just a great teaching moment of like, hey, you guys. Hi, Carrie, who's here, and whoever else is here. Just that, you know, we're not waiting to be perfect. We're just going for it, and we figure it out as we go. And when things happen, I mean, I did a voiceover job last week. I have a booth in my house, and I was able to have them dial me up, and I'm like, yes, I have all the equipment. And guess what? The equipment, like, failed, and I had tested it. And then you just say, hey, this worked, and now it's not. And they were like, oh, things have been crazy. Like, everyone understands. And I think it's just such a moment as an actor. We all want to, like, kind of be perfect in some way, even like we don't want to make a mistake on the set. We don't want to screw up a line. I'm going to tell you right now, you guys, 3 seasons on a show, people are screwing up lines all the time. You just reset back to one and start again, you know? And so
yeah,
this is like a good example of, hey, you'll figure out, I'm not going to wait till my tech's perfect. I'm just going to like ask Melissa for help. How do I do it better next time? You know, so.
And I also feel like there's so many people on Zoom and working from home and all that stuff that like it's like yeah. Anyway, I'm so excited to have you on today because this week is like all about mindset shifting, momentum building, how to start thinking about, you know, I don't want to like jinx it and say that the industry is coming out of quarantine, but we're close and things are starting slowly to, you know, open up and start shooting again. And I just think that it's so cool that I had Dewan on yesterday or the day before and today. And it was funny because independently, I didn't remember that this is what we were talking about today with you. And so when we were talking with him, I was like, oh, isn't that divine orchestration where we're going to talk about kind of the same topics, but in different shifts and ways. So it's really cool. So today we're talking about creating momentum in your career. And these are the things we're going to cover because I think what you wrote are so brilliant. 3 blocks of bullet points. Love bullet points. So 3 blocks to stop you from moving. 3 blocks to stop you from moving forward daily. Where the secret to your success is really found, and how to flip your script and create momentum fast, which I think everybody listening is going to, you know, find really helpful. I will say this: if you are joining us live right now, this is not just a conversation between Wendy and me, but it's also a conversation between you and us. So if you have questions, if you have thoughts, if you have, you know, comments or whatever, feel free to type them in. We will absolutely answer them. And if you don't have any comments, but you just want to show Wendy love because she's amazing, feel free to give her little hearts. Give her little thumbs up and likes and stuff like that.
Every actress loves hearts, and I see some friends I know and some amazing students of mine and stuff on here. So I'm glad you're joining us. Some people watch it later, which is awesome. I love giving value. I don't think anyone, I mean, some people just want to watch a conversation, but I want to like teach and dive in and give people tangible tools and tips. So, you know, if there's anything we've learned from 2020, it's that we can't control the circumstances. Like if we never could, but this is like a really giant reminder, right? And I think everything that we're learning in a pandemic actually really applies to how you handle your acting career. And I found that everything I've taught is actually a teachable moment in a pandemic, because it's like uncertainty, guys, is what an acting career is about. You know, hi everyone who's joining. So look, the only thing we can control is how we react to things. And so I just want to start off by saying I understand devastation and disappointment and derailing my plans. You know, you kind of gave me a lovely intro, but like I've lost both my parents, not this year, but in the past years. I've had 10 agents turn me down. I had a timeline of when I was going to get married and have a family, and then went through a devastating breakup. Like I've been, you know, you're like, oh, I guess that's not, what about my plan, you know? And so I think this is this year of like everyone making plans and being like, what, you know, from weddings to vacations to this is the year I'm going to book my recurring or series regular, whatever, you know? So give me a heart if anyone feels like, yeah, I've had lots of plans derail, you know, maybe you guys have been feeling like that. So what I found, here's what keeps us stuck. A lot of times we wake up and there's three things that happen, and I know because I've had all of them happen to me, even in the midst of a pandemic. But number one, you're filled with fear, right? You wake up like with anxiety and uncertainty. I see some hearts and love. All right, awesome. Yeah, plans canceled. Great. Great way for the universe to teach me how to deal with stuff. Like that's what everything's a teaching moment. You know, we had to evacuate our house for fires, earthquakes, pandemics. It's all an opportunity to say, well, what can I learn from this now? Because then, God, I just got goosebumps saying that, you guys, because then everything in life, it's not about how it all goes your way. Hello, actor, you're going to like not get the job so many times, right? It's just about readjusting and getting better and better at going, what can I learn from this? What can I do about it? How can I rethink this? You know, so we're filled with fear. We wake up with anxiety and uncertainty. You know, and even on the days, I know there's some days you're like, I'm going to be productive tomorrow on Friday. And then the alarm rings and you're like, I don't feel like getting, right? And you wake up, you feel overwhelmed or maybe you lack direction or you feel stuck. I know this morning I'm like, I don't want to work out. I really don't. But then I'm like, I'll do a 10-minute. Sometimes just a little tip there. On the days I really don't want to work out, I do this Pure Barre thing where they have like 10-minute workouts. I'm like, I'll do a 10-minute workout. I can do 10 minutes of weights, okay? And then I do 10 and I go, okay, I'll do one more 10-minute workout. Like, and then all of a sudden I'm doing a 30-minute workout when I gave myself permission to just do 10. So even right there, like, you know, not being productive, it's like if you kind of see where you're at, step back a little bit and give yourself some space to not be perfect, then you won't be like shit canning the whole thing. My kids are way far away and I can sometimes swear. But if you have kids, I can probably keep it. Okay. So we're filled with fear. Number two, we're failing to focus. And I feel like this is happening a lot right now. Maybe you have a hard time completing what you start, right? A lot of people are like, I'm going to get all this done in a pandemic. And then they're just failing to focus and they sort of never finish this whether it's even like you're going to paint a frame for your room or, you know, you're going to do your reel finally or edit something or call Melissa and shoot a scene, right? And what happens is you allow everyone else to distract you. Is everyone having that lately? I know I have definitely been. Look, there's way more distraction these days online and it often leads to comparison. So you convince yourself when you're failing to focus, and what do? You grab your phone. And hopefully if you found us here, I will say there's mindful moments of focus where you're like, hey, I'm going to come to this live and learn something that's different than actually just scrolling through Instagram and then deciding that maybe it's not possible for you because you saw someone's like red carpet moment or, you know, you add meaning to the scroll, right? And we do that all day long. We see something and then we decide how it is not going to work for me. And you guys, I do it. Friggin' everybody does it at every level in this business. You know, tell me if you've done that today. You're like, oh yeah, it's not even 11, it's 11:15 and I've already decided there's 3 things I can never do, right? You're nodding. So did you have a feeling like that recently, Melissa? I'm like.
What I'm trying to do is not interrupt you because this is so good. I'm taking copious notes. Just FYI, I always do this so we can circle back. Because I'm learning from you today too. Like, I was so excited to have both you, Dewan, and you on this week, because I'm like, great. I'm just ready to learn from these people. So yeah, keep going. We will absolutely loop back to the adding meaning to the scroll, and also I think what I've learned from my coach is adding meaning to my thoughts and making that mean something. That's a whole other thing. So let's dig into that in a bit.
That's so good. I love that. And look, that's my third thing is so we're filled with fear. This is what keeps you stuck. You're filled with fear, you're failing to focus, and then you're fueled by false beliefs. And they all do tie in. I have goosebumps saying it, because this is what will take over your life and keep you from creating any momentum in any way. And this is usually where most people are living on a daily basis, because they don't know how to pick up the phone or not pick up the phone, or pick up the phone and not make it mean that they're sucking, right? They don't even know where to begin. So a lot of times hey there, I don't know how to say everyone's cool handle, but what's up? I love whoever's saying hi. D-A-G-I.
Daggy? Yeah.
So we're talking about what keeps you stuck. Filled with fear, failing to focus, and then fueled by false beliefs. And what that is you set big goals, but then you wake up in the morning and the voices in your head seem to get louder. Like, do you ever find that when you declare you're going to really do something big, well, now the voice that says, no, you suck, is even louder than it was. You're like, wow, it was actually easier to not dream that big, because then I didn't have as much noise. But the bigger the desire, the bigger the noise. So a lot of times you're like, who am I to dream this big? Or a lot of actors are like, I should be further along by now. Anyone been saying that lately? You know, now even parents are calling like, well, how are you going to be an actor now, right? If it wasn't bad enough like at Thanksgiving or Christmas when you had to go home and explain your career, now it's like, it's a pandemic. You know, what are you going to do? A lot of actors feel like maybe it's too late, you know. And the funny thing I've noticed now that I'm over 30 or 40 is that there's people in their 20s who are like, it's too late, you guys. It's only too late if you think it's too late. Like, you can go ahead and start at 50 and win an Emmy at 65. Like, it's never too late. Joining from Nairobi, Kenya. What's
Nairobi? Hi. Yeah. That's awesome.
That is so cool. Welcome. I'm so glad.
That is so cool. I know. Yeah. I'm like, what time is it there? Is it like nighttime?
Yeah. Is it like midnight? We don't know what time it is there, but thanks for joining us. I hope you're finding this valuable. I have found, you guys, too, you know, sometimes as a woman, you'll look at a pretty woman or a thin one or like whatever it is, and you decide that you're not enough based on what you see. And I'm amazed that it doesn't matter if you're male or female, how much you weigh, what you look like. You could take the most gorgeous girl in the world and she thinks she's ugly. And you're like, what? Right? So our head plays games with us. So those are the way, and I felt all those things, filled with fear, failing to focus, fueled by false belief. Here's the thing. The secret to your success. People are like, what is it? Let's see. It's 9 p.m. in Kenya. Awesome. I'm so glad you joined us. Awesome. Hi, guys. So you've joined at the perfect time. I'm about to say where the secret to your success is really found. I think as actors, we often think it's in that one audition. It's in that one booking. Right now, it's in that one online general meeting. Like, if I could just get into that Zoom call or win that monologue competition, and that one casting director would notice me. And then what happens if we don't get there? We start, again, adding meaning to events that, like, well, I'll never make it because I can't even get into this person in the middle of a pandemic, or whatever your story is. But really, the key to your success is found in the days. It's how you handle those days when things don't go the way you want. Or those years, the year 2020, where things don't go the way you want. This is such a testament and a test of when you are really faced with big challenges, where is your resolve? Where is your resiliency? Where is your reset button? And how are you going to either get those things or figure out how to, really like dust them off if you haven't used that in a while. Maybe things have been going great for you, you know? So to me, it comes down to what you do daily. Okay, I want to read a quote from John Maxwell. He's the best-selling author. He says, "You will never change your life until you change something you do daily. The secret of your success, you guys," he says, he didn't say you guys, I'm saying you guys, "is found in your daily routine." Okay, so now it's like, well, my daily routine, everything's closed. Like, what do I do? You know, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Crystal Light 2016, absolutely. And what happens is Instagram often makes it look like everyone's sprinting and winning, right? Everyone, I go in my Valley Girl voice. You know, a lot of times it looks like everyone's sprinting and winning, but it is a marathon. And like, you know, we probably all should post our like ugly cry moments more, you know what I mean? Instead of just all our pretty filtered pictures. Okay. So, do we want to pause or do you want me to keep going?
Oh, let's go back because this is so good.
Okay.
All right. So I've got already 2 pages of notes. 2. All right.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad you're finding it helpful, and hopefully everyone is too. I saw some hearts there. Yes, Jasmine.
Yay.
Jasmine.
Jasmine. You read? Cool. So what I love so much about when you talk about all this stuff is that you give some really good concrete examples for people to know sort of where they are. Because sometimes we can hear a concept and we know that it applies, but we don't quite know how, or like we don't realize that we're guilty of it in some way. So let's just recap for people who are joining us a little bit late. So you talked about your three things that keep you stuck. Number 1 is filled with fear. And what I liked how when you went through this list, you kind of gave some actions or thoughts to counter those things. And one of the things that you said when you're filled with fear is instead you ask yourself, what can I learn from this? I love that. Okay, let's give a solid example, just like one little example for an actor who's out there maybe watching this. And let's say, what could something be that they'd be filled with fear about? Maybe like pulling out their equipment to do a self-tape if they're just really uncomfortable doing that, right? Because that's such a part of our life now, right?
Yeah.
So if they're filled with fear about that fear, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Give me the whole scenario and I will help you.
Yeah, so maybe they're, you know, just think, maybe the fear is like, deep down, it's like they don't know, they feel uncomfortable because they don't know how to work the equipment, they don't know how to edit. But I think what's underneath that is they think that it's not going to work. Right? Like, I'm going to do this session and it's just like, it's a pointless thing. Why am I doing this? But they cover that with, I don't know how to work a camera.
Right.
So instead, what you say is, how can I learn from this? So kind of walk through how you would counter those thoughts in your head.
It's, you guys, look, here's what I know. I tried to learn a whole new, like, just an online platform in my business the other day, and I literally, while on the phone with someone who was helping me, was like tears down my face, literally saying, I can't do this. Okay. So my first step is like, go ahead and cry about it. Go ahead. Yeah. Cry your eyes out.
Yeah.
And maybe you're filled with fear. Feel the feeling. Feel the feeling. Let it out. I'll actually say this, and most coaches would be like, push through. I would say, that might be a day where you go, I'm going to come back to this in an hour. Have I eaten? I'm going to get a snack. Like a lot of times for me, I'm like, oh, I haven't eaten in 4 hours. No wonder I'm cranky and crying, right? So like I'm really gentle with myself about that. I find that it helps me get so much more done in a much easier way by just backing up and going, you know, okay, I'm totally crying, right? Okay, so you want to do self-tape. Well, first of all, I will say this. If you go to the link in my bio, I did put like a self-tape success checklist together. You can like go grab it there. It's because of this very thing. I haven't even told Melissa about it, but your people would love it because it literally walks you through like, what do I need to kind of think about and what can I let go of thinking about? So if you haven't set up your self-tape stuff yet, you're in denial because this is the new normal, right? So you want to be a professional actor, you got to set this stuff up at home. And it doesn't mean you have to have the best equipment. It doesn't mean you have to have, you know, everything together. When you get up and you're filled with fear and you're like, I don't know what to do, you just take a step back. And really, I would look at your thoughts about it and go, okay, what's like you said, actually, Miss Melissa, what's underneath this? What is it? Well, it's not going to work anyway. Okay, if that's how I feel today, maybe you ride that out. And maybe it's just one of those days where you had a crappy day, right? And your spouse or roommate comes in, or your dog, or no one if you live alone, and or you call someone and you just have a crappy day. It's okay, you guys. I'm on Instagram saying it's okay to have a crappy day. And it's okay to just put it away and not do it. I know this is like so kind of like, what? Then I would come back to it. I would find a better feeling place. Hi, oh my God, what's up? I would find look, this is in what I'm about to teach you. I'll just teach it now. It's like what most people are trying to take action to feel better. And if you're taking action that doesn't feel good, then I feel like you got to back up and look at, where am I focusing right now? Oh, I'm focusing on how this will never work anyway. Okay, could I shift that focus? You know what? What if it, could I ask a different question? What if it did work? What if this is the way for me? What if I could job off of this? What if I could think about this differently by focusing differently? So to me, you want to change your behavior, you got to shift your feeling. And to shift how you're feeling, you have to shift how you focus. So I know that sounds maybe like, you didn't just write that down, you're like, wait, what did she say I had to do? In a nutshell, if you're feeling like crap and you're trying to do something, it's probably because you have thoughts about it that are sucky. So I want you to go and look at that. Oh, wow, what am I telling myself right now? What's the story I'm telling myself about this? I had an actress, she's a member of my Spotlight Club, and she's this brilliant veteran actress who's like, I'm better in the room, and I don't want to self-tape. And I walk in, I book jobs because I go in the room. And I'm like, that's great, but that's not going to help you in a pandemic self-taping. We got to just, and she's like, I'm really scared to like put the equipment together because I don't know how to do it. Does anyone else feel like that right now? That's kind of where we're at. So it's just, I'm going to take it one step at a time. I'm not going to make myself buy the best stuff, and then I don't buy anything because then I say I have no money and now I can't have anything. I can use my iPhone. Hi, I got ring lights all over the friggin' place, you guys. I got so many ring lights here. I am ring lit. Right? You can get that costs $7.99 on Amazon, so don't tell me you don't have good lighting. I mean, yes, you might need a bigger ring light for a self-tape, but so you don't tell yourself the story that is disempowering you. If you could simply, very simply say, what would be an empowering story? What's a vision I could have about this? If you took a moment and envision anyone listening to this right now, you literally just got an email that your agent said you booked off the self-tape. How would that feel? How would that feel I have goosebumps right now because I know what that feels like. And it feels awesome to be like, I'm at home and I just booked something off the self-tape. So if you can change the feeling by changing where you focus, then it's like, okay, and dry your eyes like I did the other day. I got a snack. I came back to it with a fresh, sometimes you need a break. And then begin again. Okay, you know what? I can do this. What have I been scared of before that scared the crap out of me? Guess what? You know what scared the crap out of me? Swimming in the ocean. And like 10 years ago, a friend of mine said, will you do a triathlon with me? And I'm like, I know, but I'm scared of the ocean. Like, I'm scared to swim. And then I'm like, oh, I can just doggy paddle or breaststroke it. Like, I literally breaststroke through a triathlon. I'm like, that's fine. So recall a moment when you were scared out of your mind, but you did it anyway. Self-taping, I don't think it's as scary as actually swimming in the ocean in a triathlon, but it might be for some people. And then you guys ask for help. You know, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, oftentimes when you start paying attention to what you're thinking about, you're like, oh my God, my mental drama is way more troublesome, and like it's taking up way more energy than the actual task I have to do. Right?
Totally.
Like thinking about and doing all the thoughts and like, oh no, and all the storytelling, that actually takes more effort than actually just going and doing the thing. Right?
Yes.
So like it's important to start tracking your thoughts, because then you start to go, oh my gosh, I am telling myself all these stories. It's old programming that I need to work through.
Yes.
And if I could just, so that leads us to then the second thing that you mentioned, which is that keeps us stuck, is failing to focus. And I feel like this is a ripe little topic to talk about, because you talked about comparison, and I think we could add to that multitasking, right? Like multitasking in.
I'm doing it right now by the comment and listening. It's so vital to push beyond our self-limiting stories. Awesome. And that was a total moment of digital distraction when you were talking. I was like, wait, because I know it's going to scroll up, and if I miss it, I can't screenshot it. Yes, absolutely.
It's cool.
Perfect. You mentioned it, and I acted it out.
That's hilarious. But, one of the things that you mentioned with the comparison and first thing of your day, hopping on Instagram and scrolling through, is that you add meaning to the scroll. And I feel like we add meaning to more than just the scroll. We add meaning to the thoughts to everything. Like that's just how our brains work. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just being careful with what you're putting meaning to. I could give other examples. So your example was scrolling through and comparing your life to those who are putting their highlight reels on Instagram.
Right.
There's the sending a self-tape off, or is doing an audition and not hearing back and then suddenly putting meaning to that. Or sending an email to somebody and not hearing back for a couple of days and suddenly you put meaning to that. Oh my God, they hate me, that kind of thing. Rather than focusing on other things, so that your whole life isn't just about other people. Right? So it's so important to, again, it's that tracking the thoughts and paying attention to what you're telling yourself and the thoughts that you're having. By the way, in case you didn't know this, you have upwards of 60,000 thoughts a day, right? Your brain just does that. It's thinking all the time. Yeah. And you cannot, and you are not your thoughts. Just in the same way that you are not fat. You have fat, just like you are not fingernails, you have fingernails. So you are not your thoughts, right? Your thoughts are just what your brain is doing, and you can choose whether to believe them or not believe them. But we want to make meaning out of everything, and really, most of the time, it has nothing to do with us. If you send out an email or a self-tape and you don't hear back right away, it's probably because they're real busy and they haven't gotten to it yet, but they probably will. And even if you don't ever hear from them again, that doesn't mean anything about you. It just means that you weren't right for the thing, or that it wasn't meant for you, or whatever. It doesn't have to do with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's nodding her head. She's like, mm-hmm.
I'm like, yes, everything I teach and provide actors is about getting out of the space of worrying about what everyone else thinks, actually getting out of your head about ruminating about it, and getting into the joy in your life. When you are so busy and joyful in your life, that's how you book. By, as someone said, 35 to 45 thoughts per minute. That's huge. That's huge. Right? So there's it's the awareness of to me, it's always about, am I thinking from my limited mind or my expansive heart? Mm-hmm. So to go to do a self-tape and be and all those limiting thoughts, it's well, what my expanded heart is already I can do this, and what happens, I think, over time is we tune out that voice kids are listening to all day long. They won't, there's nothing they can't do, right? Remember when you were a kid, you're like, yeah, let's do it. I'll figure it out as I go, or I'll fall down and I'll get up, right? And then over time, we listen to the other people's opinions and how it's gone before. Well, I've never booked off a self-tape before. And that all funnel and feeds into that limiting story. And now we're walking around with our list story, as Angel says, repeating 35 to 45 thoughts a minute about how it's not going to go. And no wonder we're crying with our ring lights.
Right. Yeah. and you also said, and this is something that Dewan said on Wednesday. And so now that I knew it before, but it's kind of like it's hammering home.
Okay.
And it kind of goes along with the things that are keeping you stuck. And you said that often people are using their feelings to guide their actions, when really actions help guide feelings, right?
Well, it's funny because our is a little different on how he's all about like, he's got more of a Tony Robbins edge of like, take action. I don't care. I love Dewan, but Dewan and I have worked together, and I'll be like, I'm going to wait today, and Dewan will just take the action, right? But I wait till I'm like, I'm going to find a better feeling place about it. I'm going to envision what I want. And then actually, a lot of times I'm like, wow, I didn't even have to take the action. The person called me, or I will align. I'm all about alignment, then action. I think Dewan is too, but he might just teach it in a different way. But I would say,
it's just it's a different thing. Yeah.
Feel better. I would say find a way to feel better and then take the action. So I don't know. Maybe he said it, but what I heard was the opposite.
I think the concept is roughly the same. I mean, to me, when I hear that, I'm very guilty of that, where I often won't do things if I don't feel like doing them. And I don't mean that like, there's a difference for me between like pushing through because I feel like I have to versus like feeling really bratty about it. Like, I just don't want to do it, you know? So I think that because my brain is telling me that, like, I listen to that, I put meaning to that, and therefore I don't do it. But you're right. Like, if you can kind of shift away from allowing your feelings and emotions to fully rule you, and instead know that you can choose, right? Like, you can choose what to think and how to feel about stuff.
Yes, I think a lot of people try to use action. I know so many actors who are frustrated, have self-doubt, feel lack, and try to take it on to action. And to me, all of that doesn't result in success. And so I've taught actors to find a better feeling place about something, take a step back, envision what you want, use the tools of what you think and what you envision. They're, to me, as important as the action. And if you use tools to imagine and visualize and verbalize your new story, the action sometimes even takes care of itself, or you're led to a different action that hi Candy, that makes it even easier. I'm going to read a quote from Abraham Hicks. I don't know if you're a fan, but best-selling author. They say, as you imagine and visualize, and I just said it, and verbalize your new story, as you imagine and visualize and verbalize. So it's the thoughts I'm thinking, the words I'm saying, the images I'm having in time, you will believe the new story. And when that happens, the evidence will flow swiftly into your experience. So I just say, don't discount that what you envision and what you say. If you're beating yourself up all day to try to do a self-tape, and then you self-tape thinking, well, it's not going to work anyway, guess what? It probably isn't.
It's not.
But if you find a new feeling place and a new story about it, and feel a different energy about it, and change your state about it, as Tony Robbins would probably say, you will have a different experience. Visualize to materialize, as I said. Angel, I think it was. But look, and you know, too, here's the thing. You have control over three things, even though you're failing to focus and fueled by false beliefs and filled with fear. The three things that you can actually control in your life, even in the middle of a pandemic, are the thoughts you think, and the images you visualize, and the actions you take, right? That's like a direct quote from Jack Canfield, don't quote me. He says, the thoughts you think, you have control over three things in your life. Oh, he says, Kevin, what's up? Wendy's program changed my mindset and my life. Kev, what's up? And I love that order, Kevin, because it is, I do believe that there's such power in changing mindset, and most people are taking action because no one knows really the tangible how of mindset. What's up, Scott? That when you change that inner game, it is so powerful. I think 50 years from now, they'll realize even more the mind-body energy connection, and people will be teaching way more mind energy work than they'll be like, here's the list of shit you got to do. Because our thoughts create things. So Jack Campbell says you have control over three things in your life: the thoughts you think, the images you visualize, like our brains think in pictures, and the actions you take. So I want to give you guys three like momentum mantras to help you guys just sort of how to, like a tangible tool, like you say, how to do this. The first thing is you wake up in the morning or you write it down on a Post-it note. These are three things you're going to do during the pandemic. Even if you want a self-tape to get back to your awesome example, Melissa, I am diligent about where I choose to focus. That's thoughts. That's mindset. That's mindfulness. That's just catching yourself more often that you can't change what you're not aware of. So, wow, there's that thing I do when I don't know how to do something. I cry or I get mad or I quit, right? Oh, there's that thing. And I love that language of like, oh, there's that thing I do. I mean, my husband knows me so well. If I'm like crying, he's like, when did you last eat? You know, like he just knows that like I haven't had a snack. When I would come home from an audition, if I'd be cranky about something, how'd it go? And I'd be like bitching about it. He was like, when did you last eat? Like it would always tie into like, I have not, like I'm eating air and cookie dough or something, like just something like that's not nourishing my soul. So I'm diligent about where I choose to focus. So you guys, after you get off this live, don't stay on Instagram for another half hour. Go focus on something that lights you up, right? And if putting your self-tape together today in the next hour doesn't light you up, then I promise if you go and do what lights you up for an hour, this afternoon you'll put your self-tape thing together, right? It's changing that energy. Scott, what's up? Okay, then I'm diligent about shifting how I feel, right? So focus, feeling, and then the doing. So I'm diligent about shifting how I feel. Like today, to me, the fastest way to shift how you feel is meditation, visualization. Because look, I can focus. I can go in my backyard right now and I can absolutely focus on what's wrong, right? We all can. Or the room you're in right now. Or you can look around the room you're in right now and focus on what you love and appreciate. You literally get a choice. I get the choice. Sit right here and be like, oh, there's a plant that needs watering. Or I can be like, wow, this is amazing. How cool that in my office I can connect with you and a guy from Kenya and Scott and some of my students. So I get to choose in the middle of a pandemic if I'm going to appreciate or find fault with everything. And I feel like this time has brought up your nature. If you find that your nature is brought out in this, it's just exacerbating what your go-to default mode is. And so it's okay if it's really pessimistic, angry, and whatever, right? You can just notice that and see if you'd like to shift it a little bit. And I'm trying to give you tools to shift it, which is if you can shift how you focus. If you're out every day for the next 30 days, things you appreciate about your life, about your home, about other people, about your agents, you would change who you are. And that's all you can change. I'm going to give you another quick example. I have another student of mine who's in my membership, and he was like, everything's going great except my agent isn't responding. Like when I call, she like takes a beat before she knows who I am. Like all this meaning around like, when are they going to believe in me? And if you guys say any of that, someone said, I'm all amped up from your enthusiasm. Okay, good. And you guys get the same. Like it's hard to be excited and worried at the same time. It's hard to be appreciating and loving and worried in the head, right? If you start acting from the heart and you start acting really like a 5-year-old without the tantrums, maybe, you'll start feeling a little different. But just a quick example, if you're like, I don't think my agent believes in me because, and then you'll cite all the reasons. What I wrote back, or goosebumps to the guy was, if you took the word agent out, what the agent is doing is putting a mirror up to you. And if you took the word agent out, it really is, oh, I don't know how much I believe in me, right? Because now we think it's, no. If the agent would just respond, then I would know that they believe in me. No, but guess what? You think I was going to use like Kate Blanchett. Anyone, you think like, if you believe in your work, it doesn't matter if the agent doesn't respond immediately or like whatever their action is, right? So I've used that in myself when maybe I've given my agent or manager something to promote and they haven't posted it. And I used to be like checking all day, like, I cannot believe they didn't share this. And then they'd share some other client's thing. And then I just stopped. I was like, you know what? I'm sharing my gifts. It doesn't have to come through them in that way. Like, you know, or I can change my people if I wanted to. But it's really about owning and taking responsibility for going, you know what? How can I up the thing that I'm asking the agent to do? How can I up the belief in myself instead of needing you to show me that you believe so I can believe? Does that make sense? That was like a long-winded answer. I don't know what the question was, but hopefully that was helpful.
No, that was really great. You know, earlier, I think, so this is what I wrote down for when you kind of talked about where the secret is for success. And what you said earlier was how you handle the times when things don't go the way you want. Basically building resiliency and resolve on a daily basis, and creating a habit, and kind of in a way building an environment for yourself mentally and physically where your goals and stuff can thrive no matter where you are, right? So that's so good. So if we're getting to, I know we, like, the whole discussion is about like how you're flipping your script and creating momentum. If you were to, and I'm just going to throw this out there, if you were to give people like 3, so outside of the mantras, is there anything that you would do? Oh, we didn't get to the third mantra. You said, I'm diligent about where I want to focus.
I will flip your script ideas. And I want to say really quick, I was asked back to my high school alma mater to like speak to all the parents actually at a fundraiser. And I talked about they wanting to know my success. And my whole speech was about like, I've mastered the fine art of rejection, disappointment, and failure. And I have found over 20 years tools to, total goosebumps. That is the secret sauce to my success. Oh no, did I just freeze? Oh no.
Yeah, but we can still hear you. I can still hear you. That's okay. Stupid iPhone. See? Oh, there you go.
That's all of my tools. There you go. It's not about never getting knocked down. Every successful actor at all levels will tell you this. It's always about coming back stronger. It's like strengthening your mind.
Yeah.
About that resolve. And so I'm so glad you always like take everything I said in this beautiful like one sentence soundbite. I'm gonna have to learn how to do that.
Copious note taking. That's how you do it.
Okay. So I'm diligent about where I choose to focus. I'm diligent about shifting how I feel. And then I'm diligent about choosing what I do. So it is, to me, it is focus. You shift your focus, it will shift how you feel. If Instagram is lifting you up, get the hell off Instagram, right? Maybe you need to garden or go for a walk or look at nature or become more mindful. Really, that's really at the root of it. So where I choose to focus, how it makes me feel, and then what I choose to do. On the doing part, you guys, I will say, if it's not on the calendar, it's not a commitment. Like, we've wanted to clean our garage for a couple weeks now, and I say to my husband, like, well, when are we putting it on the calendar? Because if it's not scheduled, it's not real, right? So I'll flip your script. I'm gonna hi Kevin or Kev. I just called you Kevin. I just assume it's Kev, but Kev. So to flip your script, look, you guys, the mind is rooted in limitation and fear. Our brains are actually designed, I think, back from the like crossing the Serengeti days to like scan it and look for what could possibly kill us, right? Like from back in the hunting days. And now here we are, like a pandemic, and we're like, what's gonna take me out? We're living in a fearful time. So the mind is rooted in limitation and fear, but the heart, as we kind of talked about, is totally rooted in expansion and love, as well as nature. Everywhere you look, nature, it's like expanding and growing, and there's room for everything. It's not just, there's only one tree. There's room for all of them, and they keep growing. I think as we get older, we start tuning out the heart, and we start listening to the mind. So, flipping your script. I have like 9 little things I feel like people say all the time, and I'll just walk you through, like, here's what your limiting mind says, and here's what your expanded heart says. You want me to do that? Does that sound good?
I would love that. That's great. Yes, do that.
Okay. flipping the script. I'm just going to give it to you. And it might seem easy, but if you can go throughout your day and really become mindful of like, oh, there's that thing I do, and I'm just going to start expanding into this idea. Okay, so when your mind says, you know, I'm scared to take the leap and self-tape or whatever the thing is after it, your heart says you are safe and free. Like really, really, right now in your house, you are free to set up a situation where you could literally connect to anyone in the world from your house. Do you know how safe and free you can be right in this moment, right? You really are. Like our mind's like, no, but I can't go outside, and all these things, and then I look at and then I focus on the news, and then I'm freaked out, or I could just look around and go, wait a minute, like what good could come from this, whether it's setting up the self-tape or whatever it is. The leap that we're all scared to take, it's reminding us that everyone's scared. Go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it ski. Go ahead and not be perfect. Now I'm going off on the like, it was just safe and free, but you get the idea. Okay. When your limited mind says, which you spoke to, I don't know how. Like, I don't know how to do this. Your expanded heart, and Wendy and Melissa would say, you'll figure out a way. You'll figure out a way. Someone wrote, reason I wrote, opening our minds to our brain's potential. Awesome. Angel, I don't know if that's an article or a book, but awesome. I'm catching some of the comments. Jessica, what's up? Okay, so you guys, I don't know how. Guess what? We didn't know that's where everything begins. I don't know how. You'll figure out a way. Your limited mind says it seems impossible. Like your expanded heart says you are limitless. Like really take that in. You are limitless. Your mind is limited, but you, who you really are, is limitless. And it does all begin there. Your limited mind says, well, I don't know where to begin, right? Your expanded heart, I'm now going to be your expanded heart because I'm saying this too. It says, you can ask for help. Like, I think as women, sometimes we forget that. I don't know if that's a woman thing. Sometimes it's like, we feel a lot of stuff. I know as a mother, it's like, I'll just figure it out. I'll just do it myself. And I've learned the only way you can, to me, have a successful career and like be a mom and a wife and or even if you don't want to be a mom, but just do multiple things, guys. The only way really is to ask for help. You need to be able to ask for help. Tony Rossi, what's up? Who I've asked for help for in the past. We're talking about asking for help, and I'm like, hey, Tony, I'm doing this thing. Will you shout me out? I speak up and ask for help when I need it.
You're really good at that.
Chicago guy.
By the way, you're really, really good at that. I mean, I know nobody is privy to my emails, but yeah, like I love, but the way that you do it, it's not sleazy or weird or like slimy. It's just very like authentic to who you are. And that speaks, I think, a lot to you and how like strong your mental game is. And I would wish that for everybody. I actually learn a lot from you in the emails that you send me. Like, I'm like, oh, that's a really good way to put it. Oh, I should do that.
And you know what it is? To me, I think I've learned over, and believe me, when I usually do my course, I do it once a year, and I really don't ask anyone for help other than like in November. And I'm like, hi, I used to be very like, sorry for bothering you. Then I realized, well, when you realize the value of what we're all doing, and each of us has our own unique thing, and this goes just as an actor, of like reaching out to an agent. It's like when you know that I don't want to like hoard the value, I want people to know about it, it becomes a little easier. But the other side thing is the detachment from it. And so any email I send out is like, hey, if it's not the right time, totally cool. Let me know what you're doing. I'd love to support you. It's an equal, it's a relationship, it's a bridge, as opposed to like dumping all my stuff, and so, but hey, initially I think you reached out to me to even do these, and I was like, oh wow, cool, like we're all, I think when someone does that, then you now feel more comfortable. We're all just showing each other, I guess, how to do it, so I learned a lot from it.
Yeah, but it's about building community and building relationships within it. I mean, anybody who spends any amount of time in the acting industry specifically, like eventually you will realize just how small it is. I know it feels big and expansive, especially if you like are outside of LA looking in, or you've just moved here. Eventually you will know enough people that, and you'll like know people who know people who know. And it's just like, you're like, wow, this industry is very small. think about it in terms of like dentists, right? And
right,
actors.
they all know each other, right?
They all know each other, but also like there's a huge community. There's dentists everywhere. Think about how large that industry is versus like the, 500,000 people who were actors all over the world.
Right,
It's actually
right,
kind
like
of a small little,
yeah.
So if you can, so if anything, if people take away any nuggets, one of the nuggets should be from this, that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to reach out, and like not even ask for help, just give value, reach out to somebody on that you admire on Instagram and just say, hey, I see you, I see what you're doing, and I really appreciate it. Keep going. And like what that means, oh my God, right? Like it's so beautiful. Yeah.
It does. I think that comes from the place of knowing like everyone has a limited mind. From Oprah to Tony Robbins to you and me to anyone you're seeing out there, we all have moments where like, I don't know. And then, you think Tony Robbins and Oprah didn't ask for help setting up their like digital empires in their house? They had help, right? No one's doing it all alone. Yay, I love the heart.
I would like, just quickly on that, really quick, for people who think like the big people don't ask for help, do you know how large their team is? They might be like paying for their help, but they're still getting help. So, like just know that it's totally cool to do so. In fact, if you want to build anything of substance, you absolutely cannot do it just yourself. It does take a community of people that you surround yourself with and all that. That's a whole other topic for a whole other day.
That is a whole other topic, but it's the idea of like, if you're at home crying about self-tapes, you need to reach out and ask someone who's done it how they did it. You could go online. You could Google easiest self-tape setup, and you'll find like it's a phone.
Like 18,000 articles. I mean, everybody is talking about self-tapes right now. Yeah. And you, like you said earlier, have a big guide that can help people. So
it's actually
go get her guide.
I don't want to. It's one page. I don't even want a big guide. It's actorinspiration.com/self-tape, or you could go link in my bio, but it's a one-page it's a cheat sheet of like, what do I have to have in place to, I mean, we could do a whole thing on that sometime, but
totally.
Sort of like the example we've been using, that cheat sheet will help you guys just to like not forget stuff, right? Like from the eyeline to the lighting to the stuff that now an actor does have to think about, the technical side of things, when normally we just walked in a room, did our thing, and left. Now, things are changing, and with changing, we have to adapt. I mean, to really bring it back full circle, our whole thing is like, we can't control the circumstances, we can control how we react to it. So I say, go ahead and have your tantrum, go ahead, cry on the floor, have it out, and then figure out what you need to do. Figure out where you need to focus, how it makes you feel, what you need to do, and put it on the calendar, set a date, do the actions. Absolutely. I'm like group hugging Jawan because I'm all, if she ever watches this far, but I love Jawan and I'm all for action. But again, like what we're talking about now is like, but who are you listening to? Are you listening to your limiting mind or your expanded heart? I'll give you my last couple ones because we were like on a roll there, and I don't know.
Sorry, I derailed us. That was my fault.
Let's see. So we said I can ask for help, right? Well, your limited mind is like, I haven't done it before. Like your limited mind will just keep firing off reasons that you suck and should go back to bed, basically, right? Charlotte, what's up? Thanks for joining us. So I haven't done it before. Your expanded heart says your expansion awaits you. Because when you start doing more stuff that you haven't done before, you're like, oh my God, look at all the things I know how to do now, right? When your limited mind says, like, it feels safer to stay here, meaning to stay small, like I won't ask that person for help, or I won't reach out, or I won't think of myself in a bigger way. It's just safer to stay cozy in our comfort zone. This is like one of my favorite mantras lately. Your expanded heart says you are meant for more. Mm-hmm. And so Melissa, you are meant for more. Charlotte, everyone watching this, you're meant for more. So who do I have to be in my mind, my thoughts, my actions, my feelings to invite in more? You can't be in that limited space, I won't ask or I won't reach out. If it all feels too big, I say and your expanded heart. I feel like now I am your expanded heart. Your time is now, you guys. Your time is now. Don't look for limitation in these times. Look expansion. And then one of my favorites, it's from some poem you probably know, I would have to quote, but when your limited mind says, well, what if I fail? Your expanded heart says, what if you fly? Mm-hmm. Right? That's from a famous quote that I should know whose quote that is. But I'm saying it's not. So it's really about operating from, right? So throughout today, all you have to do is go, wow, am I operating from my limited mind or my expanded heart? What's the story I'm telling myself? When you have the awareness, you can change the thought. And when you have changed the thought, you can change the feeling, which changes the action. So that's sort of like, oh yeah, I love the hearts. Crystal, thanks for staying with us the whole time. I love it, Crystal.
I know. And I have a feeling that it's either the actual little girl or her mom. So, not sure. That's awesome.
Like, 178. What's up? Catching the tail line, but I hope you go back and enjoy the conversation. But I'm glad you're here. And all these people just joining. Awesome. Yeah. So look, I feel like the limited mind leads you to where you've been. But if you start listening to the expanded heart, which is a much softer, quieter voice that you can often find in a meditation, sometimes in just doing what you love, that is opening doors to where you want to go. So if you want to create momentum, it's really go back and listen to our whole live, right? And then really start just tuning in, asking yourself, am I tuning into the expansion of my heart space versus the limitation that feels so real, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing. You know, when we're when we have these thoughts and we put a lot of meaning to them, they feel very real.
They feel so real.
And they are so real. And they are real, but it doesn't mean that that's all that there is. I did get the timer. I just realized I hadn't even paid attention to. We have about a minute left. Sorry, if people want to connect with you, work with you, consume more of your stuff, where can they find you?
Yes, actorinspiration.com, or you can click on my link at Actor in Spirit here on Instagram. Go to the link in my bio. I have a bunch of great free gifts. My self-tape success checklist is awesome. I have a new free training I'm doing that dives way deeper into all this stuff. It's the 3 keys to creating momentum, how to be unstoppable and thrive through uncertainty. So that's a free training I'm doing. It's all at the link in my bio, or you can go to actorinspiration.com and join me there. I have a lot of free gifts on my bio now. I would go to my bio and just click a couple of things. I have an easing anxiety meditation and improving well-being that I know you've even listened to that's helped people. A lot of people say meditation feels like worrying with my eyes closed. And so I really help people just not worry about meditation, but just press play and listen. So you don't even have to like think about how to do it, and you just get in a better headspace.